What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the One-on-One series presented by Fandoms Anonymous. We got a very special guest on the show this evening, the one and only Charlie Hudson III. What's going on, bro?
How you doing, my man? Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Can't call it, man. Can't call it. Guys, if you don't know who Charlie Hudson III is, he is my new Easter egg because now anytime I watch something on television, I never know if Charlie's going to pop up. I got a couple of friends out in the movie and TV business, and now I spend my time sometimes looking to see if they're gonna pop up. We're gonna get to that in a second, but I wanted you to first to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, because I know who you are, but let's let the people get into the mind of Charlie Hudson.
Okay, hey everybody. Name's Charlie Hudson III, from Montgomery, Alabama. Born and raised. Went to St. Jude High School. Went to Alabama State for undergrad. Was a drum major in the band. Did theater. Pledged to the Bros, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And then went to grad school at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Got my master's in acting, my MFA in acting. Thank God I was blessed to be a company member at Trinity Rep Theater in Rhode Island for a year and teach an undergrad class at Brown. And then I was fortunate and blessed enough to move to New York City and started my acting career, man. And it has honestly been truly a blessing and a great journey.
Now, one of the things you just mentioned was the fact that you did theater, and this is something I've always wanted to know. What would you say is the biggest difference between doing theater and doing television or movies?
Honestly, just the subtlety of it. For the stage, doing theater, majority of the time, the house, what you call it, is fairly big. At the smallest theater, sometime you might do an off Broadway or something, and it might have 50 seats in it, all the way to a Broadway house, which may have 1,000+ seats in it. So when you're on stage and you're doing something, you still have the same emotional life, the emotional journey of a character, but you make everything slightly more heightened, so the person in the very back row can not only hear you, see you, and feel the emotions and go on the emotional journey with the character. With film and TV, you still do the same thing, but because the camera can zoom in so close and get every minute detail, you don't have to be as big, if you will. So you could raise your eyebrow ever so slightly, and that could be like, oh, that's the moment, we got it, and you don't have to do it anymore. With TV and film, majority of the time, you do 1 or 2 takes, or you might do 1 take, and if it's perfect and you got it, you move on. You don't have to worry about it again. But with theater, you have a run of a show, so on the norm, you might do 8 shows a week, sometimes 9, depending on the particular show and things like that. But every night, you have to do the same journey with the character. But hopefully, every time you do it, the performance gets deeper and you find new little nuances and things to make the performance even better.
Very, very interesting. It's something I've always wanted to know because you see so many people in film and theater switch back and forth. People like Hugh Jackman and other actors and performers. Now, what would you say got you into acting or wanting to act or be in that limelight?
I would say 2 things. The first one was I'm the only child and the youngest grandchild in my family, and I have a fairly big family. So whenever the family would get together and we'd go to my grandmother's house for Sunday dinner every Sunday, every week, they would always be like, do something. And I, for some reason, would just love telling jokes or if I always had a great memory, which comes in handy, thank God. And I would memorize a poem, or I see something on TV and want to act it out in front of everybody. And oddly enough, when I was a little kid, I was watching the Cosby Show one day, and I ran up to the TV and said, "That's my girlfriend." And I was talking about Rudy, fell in love with Rudy on the Cosby Show. And I was like, I'm gonna be on that show. I'm gonna be on that show. So my parents were like, all right, well, I guess he wants to be an actor. Let's see what this is. So my aunt heard about the TAPS program at Alabama State, Theater Artists Performance School. And they took me over there, I auditioned, and that was my first time acting or finding out about theater. I was in that summer camp, and then every year after that, every summer stuck with it and started doing shows. As a little kid, whenever they would have a role for a child in the shows at Alabama State, I would audition for them, and here and there I get cast in them, and I just fell in love with it, man. I got bit with the bug.
Most definitely. Now, you mentioned that you were in a band that both of us marched in at different times throughout time history. What got you into music? How did you, because most people who act, they just act. Most people who are into music, they just do music. And some people are blessed to be able to tap into both. So what got you into music?
I was one of those little kids that believed everything the adults would say. So my parents and grandparents were like, oh, yeah, you can do anything. I was like, really? I can do anything? They're like, yeah, anything you want to do. You put your mind to it, you can do it. And I saw something on TV with what's his name? Kenny G. And I was like, I can do that. And I was like, okay. I said, I want one of those. So literally the next day, my dad went out and got me a saxophone. No, I take that back. Initially, I was playing the piano. I just didn't like the piano. I don't know what about it. I just didn't like it. And I told my dad I wanted to play. I said I wanted to play something sexy. And he was like, what? What do you know about something? And bro, I was in the third grade.
You probably, what you know about that, boy?
I was in the third grade at the time. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Kenny G and the lady say sexy. I said, I want to play the saxophone. And he was like, the saxophone? Okay, let me go get you a saxophone. So he went out and got me a alto saxophone. And that thing was bigger than me, man. I'm in third grade, lugging this thing around to band practice and stuff. But I started in the marching band, band in general in third grade. And I want to say when I got to 7th grade at St. Jude, we had the marching band. So I marched saxophone and did concert band from 3rd grade on through my senior year in high school. But marching band, I did 7th grade to 8th grade as playing saxophone. And then my 9th grade year to senior year in high school, I was drum major in the band. And actually, another marching hornet of ours, Jig with Vincent Taylor, God rest his soul, he was my band director in high school, and came over to Alabama State. He was a band director at Alabama State at the same time. So I loved it, man. And in high school, I was fortunate enough to do a lot of stuff. I marched in the band, was on our track team, played basketball. We actually got 3 state championships in track. St. Jude was hey man, we ruled Montgomery for a while.
Right. Now, one of the things, like we were talking about earlier, I was talking about, you my new Easter egg, and how does it feel to go do something? And the kicker about it is, and there's another friend of mine named John Anderson. He does a lot with Marvel movies and some of the other sci-fi stuff, and he'll always, of course, you guys go out and do whatever it is that you're going to do before anybody else knows. And then when the product comes out, it's like, oh, yeah, I was in such and such. Or, like, sometimes I might see you in something that you filmed that God knows how long ago. Same thing with my friend John. I'm just watching Stranger Things one day, and this big, tall figure is running towards somebody. I'm like, wait a minute. I pick up my phone, I'm like, so you going to tell me you're in Stranger Things? He was like, I was going to wait till you found me. But for you, I was watching Manifest, and that is one of my new favorite shows on NBC.
So is it?
That is one of my new favorite shows on NBC. And I'm watching this guy in the office. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I paused it. I said, nah. Hit play again. I said, set up, because I was relaxing. Paused, went to Facebook, scrolled up, put the phone to the TV, look left, look right, look left. Wait a minute. and I don't know if you remember, I took a picture of the TV screen, I posted it on Facebook. I was like, man, Charlie, man, I knew that was him. how does it feel to get that recognition after you've done a project and it comes out and people see you and then reach out to you like, hey, good job, man, I saw you in XYZ?
It's honestly truly a blessing, man. One of the biggest reasons why I say it's a blessing is because majority of the time when you're filming stuff, it's a closed set and only people that actually working on it know about it. And with some things you can post online or tell people like, hey, I'm doing this particular show, or watch out for me at this particular time. But it's honestly really, really, really cool to get that feedback, because it's nothing. You can see that it's all love, and it's the opposite of theater, because right after a show, you get the applause after the show, you get the applause for the entire show. But in the moment, but during the journey of a play, the audience is responding and stuff. So you get the feedback in the moment. So it's really cool when, like 2 years after you might have filmed something, and it comes out, or there have been 1 or 2 times I didn't know 1 or 2 things came out, and someone hit me up like, hey, man, I just saw you on such and such and such. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad you liked it. And, it's truly a blessing. It is truly a blessing, man.
What would you say is one of the most favorite projects that you worked on?
The Night Of on HBO, as far as TV and film is concerned. That was just a really cool series. And the other thing that was really cool about it was I got to learn a lot. Did my first little chase scene, and the script was really kept under lock and key. So I did all of my scenes, but I really didn't know the ins and outs of the entire story. So I got to watch it as an audience member, got to watch it, and it just so happened that, there's my scene. You know what I mean? So that was really cool in that regard. I would say the Rosa Parks story, which is my first movie, and I was still at Alabama State when I got to do that one. And that one was with Angela Bassett and Cicely Tyson. That was my very, very first time being on camera and everything. And the really cool and memorable thing about that was my grandmother was in the scene with me. She was an extra in the scene. I was waiting on the carpool during the Bus Boycott in the movie, and as the scene is it looks as if I'm about to hop on the bus, and I actually don't. And as I start walking down the street with an older gentleman, my grandmother and my grandfather are in the scene. So my grandmother is walking, but on the bus right behind Angela Bassett, my granddad is sitting there. So my very first time being on camera, in a film with Angela Bassett and Cicely Tyson and my grandparents in my shot.
No, that's something that you call epic, That's an epic moment. Now, how was it being around Angela Bassett? I think that's a question all the fellas got out there.
That's a really cool experience. She's amazing and nice, humble, and a consummate professional, man. Consummate professional. Actually, that was my first time meeting her, and then I was doing a show here in New York called Hurt Village by Katori Hall. Angela Bassett was doing Katori's other show at the time, Mountaintop on Broadway. And we got to go meet everybody backstage, and then she came to one of our rehearsals and came to the show, and just a really great spirit, man. Really great spirit. Great human being.
That's epic. Me and my wife call Angela Bassett everybody's mama, because the majority of her movies, she's telling some unruly child to get out.
Hey, man. She is when I tell you an amazing human being, just lights up a room when she walks in.
Most definitely. What's your advice out there to that theater major, or that theater student that's in high school and drama club? What's your advice to them?
To read as much as you can, to take an interest in not only just the arts, but different things in life, because we have to portray. That is our job, to portray or to be a mirror of life. So I know I have a lot of friends, and for a little time myself, just for a small time in my life, I was like, everything is theater, everything is art. But then you get caught up in that, and you don't always have a clear understanding of what's going on around you, so you can be a reflection of it and have an artistic view about life in general. So I'll say, one, read as much as you can, especially when I say read plays. Read as many plays as you can. Take as many classes as you can and celebrate each other. That's the other thing. A lot of people think that this business should be cutthroat, and at different times, for unnecessary reasons, it can be. But celebrate each other's wins, because there's enough work for us all, and just to be happy for each other, because everybody's artistic view and artistic life means something, and know that their dream is possible, because we think that being successful in the entertainment industry, a lot of times, especially like me, coming from Alabama or coming from the South, or places that aren't stereotypically a entertainment industry hotspot, we think that that we can't do it, but that dream is definitely attainable, and just go all the way, man. Go all the way.
Now, you have a catchphrase, and anytime you make a post about something that you're doing, you always hit the same hashtag, and it says, no slacking, steady stacking. Where does that come from? And what does it mean to you?
I was doing this show called Fly about the Tuskegee Airmen in Martha's Vineyard, and my castmate, as soon as we met, like before you do a show, after you get cast, they send you a cast list so you see everyone's name and stuff. And as soon as he saw me, he said, Charlie 3 Stacks. He said, I'm going to call you 3 Stacks from now on. So every time we would see each other, he'd be like, Stacks, what's going on? Stacks, what's going on? And I wasn't on Instagram. I was kind of resisting to get on Instagram for a while. And once I finally got on there, one of my friends was like, you should have your little catchphrase and this, that, and the other. I was like, I don't know, just stacking them up or something, stacking blessings. And she was like, no, somebody had that one, because I started typing them in. And I stumbled over no slacking, steady stacking. And I was like, oh, that rhymes. Okay, I'm going to use that one. And I typed it in, no one had it, and I was like, all right, I'm doing that one. And to me, one is to play on my third, Charlie Hudson III, 3 Stacks. But also never slacking in anything that you do, to try to, what they say, if a task is once begun, never leave it till it's done. Do it well or not at all. So you have to always give your all. So no slacking, steady stacking. Always trying to stack blessings. It doesn't have to be financial, man. You stacking blessings, stacking friends, stacking relationships. Anything positive, you're stacking.
Now, one of my last questions I got for you is something that we always ask on the one-on-one series is, what does the word consistency mean to you?
Consistency? To me, is always showing up. Always showing up, giving your all, no matter what it is. Putting your best foot forward. What you do on Monday, same thing you should be doing on Friday when it comes to your ethics and your work ethic. Yeah, that's what I would think it is. Not letting yourself off so you won't slack off. Instead of slacking off, you always steady stacking.
Most definitely. I want you to tell the people out there, what's one last thing that you would leave with people who are looking to go in the route that you're going, and what's that inspiration you would give to them?
One, to not let anyone deter them. Don't take no for an answer. And like I said, everyone's dreams, hopes, and wishes are valid. One thing to take with me? Take with them? Mm-hmm. For me, is to always stay humble, keep God first, and know that when one door closes, another door will open, sometime another window, and sometimes a wall will get knocked down and you just walking straight through it. So never really get discouraged.
Most definitely. Charlie, we really appreciate you for stepping out and talking to us today. Please let everybody know where they can follow you on social media.
Charlie 3 Stacks on Instagram and Charlie Hudson III on Facebook.
Most definitely, guys. You know who we are. We're Fandoms Anonymous. We're all over social media, right here on YouTube where you're watching this video. Also, wherever you can find your podcast, we are on Anchor, whether it's Google Podcasts, and any place you can get your podcast. Even though I said that already. We're also on Instagram with @Fandoms_Anonymous17, and also follow us on Facebook under the same name, Fandoms Anonymous. Charlie, again, we really appreciate you for talking to us today. And as always, we'll see you guys in another video.